University President Katherine Banks gave her State of the University address on Wednesday, highlighting some upcoming changes coming to Texas A&M. Democratic nominee for governor Beto O'Rourke visited A&M's campus and was treated to a packed Rudder Theater. The Brazos County Farmers Market offers more than just local purchases, it offers a community. And this upcoming Saturday, the Battalion is celebrating 129 years as an independent student newspaper. In light of a tumultuous year, there's lots to celebrate. I'm Caroline Wilburn, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Batt Signal. On Wednesday, September 28th, University President Katherine Banks gave her State of the University address, announcing plans for overall campus improvement in the years to come. Here to speak more about Banks' address is Assistant News Editor Kenzie Finch. Kenzie, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about what State of the University address is?
So, the State of the University is a speech given by the president of A&M that addresses future plans and also evaluates the progress over the past year.
So, what specific goals did Banks mention during her speech?
Banks announced Texas A&M's initiative to improve the campus moving forward with increased scholarship opportunities, development of new programs, a new museum, and new student activities.
Okay, so what exactly does increased scholarship opportunities entail?
Banks said A&M is embarking on a scholarship campaign to add an additional $100 million over the next 4 years to assist with the cost of education. This includes things like open access textbooks for students and doubling student health services over the next 3 years. Banks said, quote, "We are poised to launch a new era of success at our university. Chancellor John Sharp recently said, we are living in the new golden age of Texas A&M.
So, did Banks mention anything specific about her plans for the arts at A&M?
Banks said A&M is working to improve the liberal arts programs, such as her plan to reinstate the journalism program, with the first set of journalism students set to be welcome in fall 2023 as part of the new College of Arts and Sciences. Esports was also something listed as a potential thing they will be looking forward to in the future. Banks said, quote, "I've grown weary of hearing about outstanding, respected students who chose to attend other universities because Texas A&M lacks opportunities for the arts. Exposure to the arts expands critical thinking, which brings greater job opportunities for our students."
So, I understand that there were mostly faculty, staff, and students at the event, but were there any opposers of Banks at the event?
So there were actually 2 protest groups that remained throughout the duration of Banks' speech. The 2 groups were Students for Democrat Society, or SDS, and People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA. The groups silently held their signs from their seats, however, Banks' speech didn't really include either of their complaints. Philosophy PhD student Brazos James is a member of SDS and said the organization was protesting the lack of representation of historically marginalized groups on campus, as well as A&M's decision to keep Sullivan, or the Sully Rest statue, in its prominent location on Academic Plaza. Manager of campaigns Tricia Lebeker said records show A&M has 9 dogs in its custody currently, who are being used for research for A&M's School of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences.
Thank you so much for your time, Kenzie.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
While on his Texas college tour, Democratic gubernatorial nominee for Texas, Beto O'Rourke, visited Rudder Theater at Texas A&M on Wednesday, September 28th, to speak on some of the most controversial topics in Texas politics. Hundreds of students gathered in Rudder Theater to hear O'Rourke speak about the state's largest issues, including abortion rights, gun violence, and the power grid. 6 months after his previous visit to College Station in March, ahead of the gubernatorial election, O'Rourke honed in on specific goals he hopes to achieve if elected to office. Following his opening remarks, O'Rourke spoke on the issue of abortion in Texas, citing the story of Texas women prevailing in the original 1973 Roe v. Wade Supreme Court case, ultimately winning the constitutional right to abortion. After the case was overturned in June, O'Rourke said it's now up to voters to return rights to women.
If Texas women want the right for privacy, to access an abortion, to make their own decisions about their own bodies, then I bet that in 2022, women are going to win it back right here in the state of Texas.
O'Rourke then transitioned to current Governor Greg Abbott's failures to maintain the Texas power grid in extreme weather, resulting in the death of almost 700 Texans in February 2021.
The fact is, we were reminded earlier that the people in power cannot keep the power on for the people that they serve. And last February, your lights went out, the heat stopped running, the water stopped flowing because it was literally frozen in your pipes.
In addition to the power grid failure, O'Rourke cited Abbott's missteps to prevent and respond to the Uvalde tragedy in May. O'Rourke described his goals of implementing a red flag law, universal background checks, and raising the age of purchase for AR-15s to 21 years old. He said it's important to put children first, above gun lobbyists and the National Rifle Association.
They are defenseless against a governor who would not lift a finger to prevent that kind of tragedy from happening in their school, this school, or any other classroom across the state of Texas. 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history have taken place on this governor's watch.
To conclude his speech, O'Rourke criticized the current treatment of U.S. veterans, which results in homelessness, fatal disease, and mental illness, some issues which he believes could be resolved with legalized marijuana.
I want to make sure that we legalize marijuana.
O'Rourke said beyond legalizing the substance, he intends to expunge arrest records for anyone charged with marijuana possession or use.
All Texans of all ethnicities and all races and all backgrounds use marijuana at roughly the same rate, but disproportionately it will be black and brown Texans who are stopped, who are frisked, who are incarcerated for possession.
But not everyone present on Wednesday were supporters of O'Rourke. Standing outside of O'Rourke's speech were protesters showing their support for the current governor. One protester, John Nick, said he believes O'Rourke will only have negative effects on the state if elected.
And just a lot of things that Beto does that I just don't like it. He made a mess of himself with the Uvalde when he standing in front of him in a disaster like this and the stuff that he supports.
There were many student fellows and volunteers at the event. They were assisting students in signing up to go door to door, urging their peers to vote in the upcoming election. Business management senior Yovanka Gonzalez said it's important for students to be informed on O'Rourke's policies.
I think it's important just to have people informed about the policies that he is presenting. So I think there's a huge miscommunication and misinformation happening oftentimes on the internet. And so it's very important and vital for college students to come out and hear politicians themselves talk about their policies and the importance of that, especially when it comes to voting, and considering that we had the early voting location taken away here from the MSCs.
The full version of this story and photos from O'Rourke's visit to A&M are available at thebat.com. Located in downtown Bryan, the Brazos Valley Farmers Market has been committed to hosting local vendors every Saturday to sell their goods. Here to talk more about the farmers market is life and arts writer Emma Lawson. Thank you so much for coming on, Emma.
Thank you for having me.
So, can you give us a couple more details about this weekly farmers market?
The market is open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. year-round, but due to being outdoors, visitors are asked to prepare beforehand for the weather. With over 30 local businesses, the market offers goods and services that might not be available at grocery stores, such as artisan crafts.
So, what are some of the items that are available at the market?
Yeah, so customers that visit the market can find a variety of products, including raw milk, fresh veggies, artisan-made goods, local honey, and even rabbits. One customer, Carrie R., said she is a frequent visitor to the Brazos Valley Farmers Market and tries to visit as much as possible. R. said, quote, "This is our grocery store. We shop here first, and then we shop at the grocery store second."
I understand that you got to interview some of the local vendors at the market. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, Justin Scott is an apprentice beekeeper at Prime Bees, a business that provides honey, bee removal services, and more. Scott said he has worked with Prime Bees co-owners and husband-wife duo Ashley Ralph and Justin Russell for 5 years. Due to the farmers market allowing a more personal touch with customers, Scott said he's made connections throughout the community. Scott said, quote, "I like being more vocal with people and just asking them how their day is going. As a beekeeper, we meet a lot of our clients just by saying hi."
Yeah, that sounds super cool. Thank you so much for your time, Emma.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, here to talk a little bit about the Batt's birthday coming up is Editor-in-Chief Michaela Rush.
Howdy!
So, Michaela, what day specifically is the Battalion's birthday?
The Battalion's birthday is this Saturday, October 1st, and the Batt will be turning 129 years old.
Is there anything significant about this birthday, especially with events that have happened in the last year?
Well, as some of y'all may know, back in February, we were not sure what the state of our publication was going to be, specifically when it comes to the format. But I'm proud to say that for these 129 years, we have produced a print paper, whether it be in a monthly, weekly, or multiple times a week form. And the only exception to that was a little short stint during World War I, because most of our folks who went to A&M, were commissioned and went off to the military. So.
Yeah, so do you have any goals for the next 129 years of the battalion?
I mean, I can only think so far ahead, but I know that in the future, folks who work here are going to help us not only preserve our traditions like our print paper, but also help us expand into new mediums. Obviously, the podcast is a great example of that, social media. But I'm just excited to see how, as new types of media roll out, how we find a space within them. And it's been really exciting to see how, even though so much has changed over the years, the fact that we still produce content that is intended for the campus community has stayed the same the whole time. And it's a really cool tradition to be a part of.
Yeah, so what are some cool things that the battalion has done in the past 129 years?
Well, there's been a lot of cool things. One thing I do really want to brag on, because I was just doing some research on it, is our sports desk is seriously so awesome. Our sports desk actually has won the College Media Association's Pinnacle Award for Best Sports Section for the past 6 years in a row, and we are nominated this year as well. We'll find out those results at the end of October, so looking forward to that. But also within that, something I think is really cool, and like I said, a great example of us moving into new mediums is the battalion's website actually started in 1997, which is older than pretty much everybody who goes to A&M as an undergraduate student. So it's just cool to see. Like I said, we've kept up the print thing this whole time, but we're not afraid to be jumping into these new avenues, and definitely hoping to tell some more interesting stories about what happened in the 50s and what happened in the 70s and what happened even before that. We just have had a really interesting time, especially as we as a paper have figured out our relationship with the university and the campus community.
Thank you so much for coming on, Michaela.
Thank you for having me.
For more information on all the stories featured in today's episode, visit our website at thebat.com or pick up a print edition on stands every Thursday. This week's contributors are myself, Kenzie Finch, Emma Lawson, and Michaela Rush. Make sure to check out previous episodes of the Batt Signal and Home Turf, available wherever you get your podcasts.